Boomer Sooner.
Ball's out, rolling around on the turf. Sooners recover. Looks right, wants to throw, does. It's intercepted. Intercepted. He's under pressure. He lobs end zone. Touchdown.
This is the Riverwind Casino Coach's Corner on the Sooner Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. Also brought to you by Dos Equis, official import beer of OU Athletics. Go for Dos. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. And by Walden Cleaners. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. This is the Riverwind Casino Coach's Corner. Here are your hosts, Chris Plank and Gabe Ikard.
And we're pumped to be joined by Sooner defensive ends coach Miguel Chavis.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Coach? How are you this week?
I'm good. How are you?
Ready to get back home.
Yeah.
2 games on the road, a bye week in there between. Obviously, everything's been washed from Texas, but as we tape this on a Thursday afternoon, what were some of your resonating thoughts from the way that line and your defense played?
Yeah, I think, we didn't do well enough, I might be saying it lightly and obvious, but talk to my guys all the time. We tell the whole team, man, control the controllables. Control the controllables. I don't call plays. I don't fill water bottles. I don't report. I coach defensive ends. And the edgemen of the D-line, it's their job to do their job every play. We talk about execution, physicality, and effort. And so we went back and watched the tape, and Texas is a really, really good team, man. Hats off to them. But our play was left wanting. Our execution was left wanting, and regardless of the outcome, And so it sucked, pissed off, mad, upset, and all the things that you should rightly feel after a game like that when you're so highly invested. We got a highly invested group, and so when you don't get the result that you work for, and you don't get the outcome that you work for, you should be pissed off. You should be upset. And so we watched the tape Sunday, put it to bed. Looked at all the ways that we have to improve and what we could have done to help our team win Saturday, and where we fell short, and then recommitted, man. There's a great video by a crazy guy named Jocko.
Yeah.
He talks about something going wrong, and you kind of have like 2 options in life. You can, woe is me and make excuses, or you can say good. And that's who I've always been. That's who I've always been. And that's who our team has been since Coach V has gotten here. And so, we're excited to be back at home and flush it.
Looking at the Texas film, and they got a really good offensive line. I think there's an argument that they have the best offensive line in college football right now. But you want to correct the mistakes, but you want to point out the positive and encourage your guys. So when you went back and watched that film, what was the most encouraging things you saw from your group?
Well, Ethan Downs got a sack on play 1. And once again, I'm not a historical revisionist. I'll keep it real. It's 7-3 with 2 minutes to go in the first half.
Right.
This is reality. This isn't make believe. That's the score of the game, and it didn't have to be that with 2 minutes to go in the first half. And so you look at, okay, then how does it go into halftime 21-3? We got to coach better, and as coaches, and then we have to execute. We got to get our guys to execute and not give up explosive plays. Man, we talk about all the time: run the ball, stop the run, take care of the ball, get the ball. And it's not magic. It's not a conspiracy theorist. It's not a surprise. If you do not execute physically with great physicality and amazing effort, one play when you're playing a team as good as that Texas team, you'll get exposed. Period. And so I think you go back and say, hey, listen, man, like it's 7-3 going into halftime in 2-minute drill. And fourth down stop here, turnover, Billy's picks the first series. First series,
Yep.
Ethan sack on the first play. and guys were giving amazing effort in a lot of places. And then there's other places where, just being introspective and saying, man, evaluate. It's always the man in the mirror. As a coach, it's that way, and as a player, it's that way. And so there was some highlights, but not many. We did not spend a lot of time singing that song this week and Sunday. The song was quite different, but I will say the guys and the staff have responded really, really well.
There's just no doubt that your offense is struggling right now. Struggling to find a rhythm, struggling to move the football, struggling to go and score points. But when you look at the leadership you've got on defense, how do you make sure that those offensive struggles aren't affecting the defense, affecting their mentality? Because I think it's only human nature to look at it and go,
"Oh, for
man,
sure.
we're in a difficult spot." Like, how do you fight against that affecting the defense?
And I appreciate the question. Human nature. There's a lot of things about human nature that aren't good. You hear me? Okay.
Fair enough.
All right. Just because something is human nature does not make it okay. Period. And Ethan Downs, he don't throw the ball. All right. And Michael Hawkins, he don't rush the passer. All right. Everybody has a freaking job to do. So for me and for us, our staff, it's really easy. Hey, listen, man, do your job. This is it's the best sport in freaking the whole world, man. You got 11 dudes on the field, and every play there's a win or a loss. Every play. There's a win and a loss in the game. Nope, there's 70 wins and losses every play. And if the defensive ends or the D tackles, the linebackers, or the safeties, or the corners, if you ain't getting freaking dubs every play, you ain't gonna win the game, regardless of the offense. But once again, our team, man, is together. I'm telling you, and we love the offense. Offensive coaches love the defensive coaches, and the players, and vice versa. There ain't no pie in the sky. I promise you that. Ain't nobody got their head in the sand. Ain't nobody in denial. But you can choose to look at a situation and respond the right way.
Well, one of those guys that's a leader on this team you mentioned is Ethan Downs. Had a sack on the opening play. You saw the numbers, seeming like he had a great game. Leadership, a dude that loves Oklahoma, Weatherford kid. Where have you seen him progress and stand up this year?
It's just unbelievable, man. It's like having an assistant coach. Trent Simpson is my assistant defensive ends coach, one of our analysts, but he does so much for us. But it's really like having another coach. And if Ethan's not in, like at practice, he's playing, he's busting his butt. When he's not in, he's on the sideline. He's got the cards. He's telling PJ and Taylor Wan and all the guys, look right here, or he messed up, or I did this, and I should have did this. And we were texting last night and in the group chat, and I send a little video into the edgeman, and Ethan jumps on the player. This is who he is. And nobody says anything, because you're talking about a guy that's highly invested, that would cut off his arm for Oklahoma to win a football game, that would stand in front of a moving bus and push somebody out the way. And so when he says it, he's earned that right to challenge guys. And so that's what I've seen. I've seen a guy go from, not sure of himself his sophomore year, that was a good player, but we've gotten better on our roster on defense every year, and every year he continues to start. Every year he continues to improve and get better and lead.
Well, guys aren't challenging him also because
he's a beast.
He's Weatherford strong. I mean, come on, look at the guy. Look at the guy. You don't have a bunch of idiots in your room. I mean, come on.
You know what though? But and I think this starts with we were talking about something as a team yesterday and about there's no change without challenge.
Right.
So no thin skin around here. You can't be thin-skinned as a coach. You can't be thin-skinned as a player. If you want to get better, you have to be challenged. And I've seen Ethan challenge guys, and I've seen guys challenge Ethan.
One more thought on that. Developing your voice. You did it as a player.
Yeah.
We've seen Ethan Downs do it. What's the key to that in your opinion? Production.
Period.
No doubt.
You got to listen. You make plays, you get a voice. Those guys that talk a lot, that don't make no plays, those guys that talk a lot, that don't make no plays, people ain't listening to them. It's just freaking a noisy gong. That's all it is, from the biblical metaphor.
Squeaky wheel, and
nobody cares.
Not getting the grease.
Nobody cares. You get sacks, you hit people, you knock people back, you throw them on the ground. You give amazing effort, character, and production.
Love it. Quick break. We'll come back with more from Miguel Chavis. Let's talk about that room and some of the young guys, too, starting to make an impact here inside the Coach's Corner, presented by Riverwind. Stick around.
Coach's Corner is brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. Orthodontics Exclusively is a proud sponsor of the Junior Captain of the Game. Junior Captain is the ultimate fan experience for children 6 to 12. Bob Moore Ford is proud to honor service members through the Patriot of the Game. Chick-fil-A. Download the Chick-fil-A app and order your favorites ahead of time.
Welcome back inside the Coach's Corner, presented by Riverwind with Gabe Ikert. I'm Chris Plank. That's Sooner defensive ends coach Miguel Chavis. Coach, we talked about Ethan Downs near the end of our last segment. Let's open this with the closer, R. Mason Thomas. Just in incredible development, and he's healthy, and you see the difference he can make.
Yeah, man. It's a guy that I've been talking about, yelling about, whispering about for a couple of years. And people are starting to finally believe me now. They thought I was crazy. And but no, man, it's a developmental game. You know, it's a guy that came in here 215 pounds. He's 245, 250 now. A guy that works tremendously hard, that's tremendously gifted, but that loves Oklahoma. And so, you know, the good Lord's kept him healthy, and you're seeing him just be who he is. So it's been fun watching him. That's another guy growing as a leader. You know, not a rah-rah guy, not a funny as all get out when you get to know him, like really funny, but doesn't say a lot. And so I've been challenging him this year to use his voice.
Looking at his improvement as a player, you've been saying it for years, guy can rush the passer.
Yeah.
It's just he's got that natural ability. What have you seen from him as far as holding up at the point of attack against in the opponent's run game?
He's got a ton. I mean, he's got, let's see, I don't know how many tackles and TFLs he has this year, but a lot of those are versus the run. You know, that's our first thing, is stopping the run. And so he knows, you know, and I challenge him on this in the offseason. Hey, listen, you want to be a niche guy, or you want to be an every down defensive end, outside linebacker? And so he's rose to the challenge, man. It's a guy that plays with great leverage. He's not a really, really heavy dude, but he's creating a lot of force because of how explosive and twitchy he is. His 245 is moving faster than somebody's, you know, 270 pounds. And so he's not a finished product at all. We still have a lot of work to do, and he knows that. And he loves it, man. He lets me coach him really, really hard. I like guys that allow me to coach him hard, and he's one of them.
Looking, you know, thinking back to the Texas game, PJ, I thought he looked as healthy as he's looked all season long. Is he getting close to being back to 100%?
I don't know all the what are the rules on that? Health, medical. Anyways, there's some
as long
kind
as
of
we
rules.
don't talk specific injuries, I think
don't
you're
sue
good.
me, PJ. But he's as healthy as he's been since fall camp.
Oh, that's good.
Good.
And I'm really excited for him.
He looked as explosive coming out of his stance as I thought he looked all season.
I'm very excited for us and him.
Love that.
For a guy like PJ, who burst onto the scene last year,
Yeah.
still a guy learning the game, right?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, listen, like he's night and day from a technical standpoint, and the understanding of the game was than from where he was last year. His body's changed. He's 255 right now. I think it was like 235, 240 last year. But this is a guy that hasn't yet reached his ceiling, man. I'm telling you, he's gotten better. Okay, but once again, you know, it's health is a real thing. Okay, a Ferrari is a Ferrari as long as a Ferrari doesn't have a flat tire. Okay, and so we're excited about him. I'm proud of him. We love him, and yeah, just excited for him.
Trace Ford is a guy that you guys have used in a variety of different ways, on the ball, dropping in coverage, playing off the ball. Just how have you seen Trace embrace all these different things you guys are asking him to do?
You know what? He and I had a conversation, and it's just, I'm proud of him, man. He leaves Oklahoma State, and he comes to his dream school, Oklahoma. and all the freaking flack that this young dude, you know, and I know he's been in college like 9 years, but he's still a young dude compared to us, that he had to take to do that. You know what I mean? And to get into a system, and then you got to relearn a whole new system. And then I got to, where do I fit? And he's got so many amazing gifts and can do so many things for us. For us, he's like Weapon X. For us, he's like a Swiss Army knife. And so just proud of him, man. There's another guy, I love seeing guys improve. And for him, from where he was year 1 to year 2 as a football player, as a student of the game, and then you're seeing his production skyrocket. So excited for him.
We talked about PJ, so I want to mention another young guy that probably has as fiery of a persona as I've seen. But Taylor Wine, I mean, is it a matter of time before we see him get out there? How's he progressed?
No, he's doing great. You know,
he's a trip.
Yeah, they call him Young Chafe, and I'm like, what does that mean? And they're like, Coach Chavis, you were probably just like that. And but I have an affinity for him. We love him. You know, he cares about the game. He cares about his teammates. He's a freaking tough dude. He's a long dude that's tough and physical, that can run. And those guys usually do really well at defensive end. And so, you know, it's a veteran group right now with guys like Ethan and Trace and Caden and R. Mason, PJ. But as a younger guy, man, I'm really proud of him. Had I talked with him yesterday.
Yeah, and you mentioned Caden Woolard. I can't believe I've left him out. Seemed like he played pretty well on Saturday.
Yeah, you know, and it's once again another story of a guy continuing to develop, man. You know, it's there's a transition a lot of times, especially in the trenches, from guys that doesn't have to always be, but could be playing Group of 5 and going to Power 5, especially in the SEC. But this is a dude, you know, that can do it now. You know, can move. His movement patterns are freaking beautiful, and he likes it. He's a guy that's getting better, and so we're gonna need him to win out for the rest of the season.
Big one on Saturday.
Huge.
When you look at, and I know you guys aren't done with your preparation yet, but what has stood out to you about South Carolina's offense as you guys prepare for the game?
I think what stands out is how well they have done with the quarterback and understanding his strengths. You know, and saying like, hey, look. I don't want to give too much away here, but they do a good job with understanding who they are. You just watch the tape, man.
They don't ask him to do a ton in the passing game, and they play to his strengths as he's a mobile, physical guy.
You watch the tape. They have gotten better every game this year, and they've done an excellent job. You know, it's an offensive line that plays really, really hard with great pride. They're playing together. It's a 6'1", 242-pound running back. You know, I told R. Mason, you better bring your freaking pads. He's the same size as you. And it's a quarterback that is very, very, very dynamic in the quarterback run game and some of the stuff that they do in the pass game as well. So it's a team that has lost a couple of really, really close games. You know, it's a team that I think that a lot of people have slept on. And then coached by a really, really good dude who knows football, and Coach Beamer. And so, man, they're going to come in here and we're going to get everything they got. And we have great respect for South Carolina.
Surprisingly, a team that's played a little bit better on the road than they have at home this year. That Ole Miss game is still a head scratcher. But I'm curious, you played against them every year as a player. You coached against them every year whenever you're at Clemson. Is there anything that you guys can draw from some of those matchups, or is it all completely new?
I mean, I think once again, the logos are the same,
right.
You know, but it's a new team. You know, it's new head coaches, new players, new team. You know, if you're asking me to speak from my former defensive lineman Clemson days, and I could give you a different answer off the tape. But no, it's a new team, you know, and so you got to respect the game. You got to respect the process. And this is a team that they do what they do very, very well. And I'll let Coach Luttrell talk about their defense and all of that. But it's a good team, good challenge for us. We're excited.
Looking at the matchup, what do you think is, you know, when it comes to the list of most important things for you guys to do as a defense, what do you think is most important to slow down this South Carolina offense?
Stop the run. You have to stop the run. Listen, this is not a secret, okay? So they can play. Like, you have to stop the run in football. You have to do your job. You know, you have to get the ball, and you can't give up explosive plays. You know, this is not an OU offense versus OU defense or special teams. I mean, this is a one team. This is complementary football. How do you play complementary football? One side of the ball does their job. you know, and we want to give our offense the ball back to freaking score. We want to dominate on special teams. So the way we do that is we line up, we dominate the run, we stop the run, we go get the ball, and we don't give up explosive plays. We didn't do that versus Texas, you know, and that's on us as coaches, that's on us as players, on our guys as players. And so we understood exactly what went wrong. And so we're focused on us, man. Focused on Oklahoma. It's all about Oklahoma. You're talking about there's only one Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's got to stay one. That's true too. And so we're excited.
Hey, real quick before we let you get out of here, the interior of that defensive line really seems to be maturing too. And I know you had Dominic Williams in your room for a little
Grayson
bit.
Halton.
Tennessee. And how about Grayson Halton? Huh?
Grayson G. Baby Halton.
He flashes.
The San Diego Sooner. Man, it is so fun. So I was the guy that recruited him when he was coming out of high school. And it was me and Coach V, and then Coach Bates got here. And now, you know, he's just the job that Todd Bates has done developing him is unbelievable. And the job that Coach V and our staff has done in helping him mature. But you know what? That's a guy that has a joy of life. That's a guy that has great juice and passion. I saw him grow up Saturday. That was a bright spot. I saw him grow up Saturday, and the guys respect him. But man, he loves life. He loves Oklahoma. He loves ball, and the sky's the limit for him.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate your time. Good luck Saturday.
Appreciate it.
Another dude
Thanks,
that loves
guys.
Oklahoma, Seth Littrell, joins us next inside the Coach's Corner. Stick around.
Awesome.
We want to thank all of our Sooner Radio Network affiliates across the state and region. Fans can check out Soonersports.com for an affiliate in your area. And if you're traveling outside the state of Oklahoma, you can listen to all the action on either SiriusXM Radio or download the Varsity Network app and listen free. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality.
Getting ready for game day, I feel like for me starts the night before. Being back home, closer to family, I've been trying to spend my Thursday nights, maybe see my family for a little bit, kind of just decompress a little bit before stuff ramps up. Game day, I try to journal a little bit, get some of my thoughts down on paper so I'm not stressing myself out too much, more than I already am. Then we go down, pregame meal. I'll have 2 fillets, green beans, rice, some plain noodles. After that, we're rolling to the stadium. I'm always on the left side, second seat. I'm on the aisle seat. Bauer's sitting right next to me on the left. As soon as we get to the stadium, I go straight to the taping table. My guy, Luke Spitz, is who tapes me on game day. Been rocking with him. We're gonna keep it that way. Right before kick, as we run out, I always pray on the 11-yard line in honor of one of my teammates at Norman North, Jake Thomas Simmons. He was like a big brother, like on the team for me back then, and he wore 11. I've done this since like high school at UNT, and then Baylor, and now here, just to remind myself, you know, like he's playing through me.
Play action, lob, end zone, Jake Roberts, touchdown.
I did wear like the oldest pair of cleats I have, my Jordan 1s, and if you look in the pictures or any of the videos, you can tell they're really beat up. I mean, I got them my senior year in high school, and this is my 5th year of college football. They've been through the ringer for sure. I wore them a couple times in high school. I think I scored in them then. North Texas, I didn't wear them for the 3 years I was there, and then I wore them my last game in the bowl game, scored then on a pop pass. And then week 1, I wore the ones that they gave us. So I was like, I'm going back to the old beaters. So I wore them on game day. I mean, the laces are about to break. And then again on Saturday, I scored in them. So I don't know, they must have some good juju in them or something. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm not gonna switch anything up.
Jake Roberts, tight end for Oklahoma and part of Seth Littrell's offense, who joins us inside the Coach's
Did he
Corner,
say
presented
he's
by
had
Riverwind.
those since high school?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's such a psycho move. I love it. That's fantastic.
Keep wearing them. He scores touchdowns. in 'em.
Keep wearing them, man.
We need touchdowns.
Keep wearing them.
We're having a cup of community coffee here with Seth Littrell. And Coach, obviously, not the week that you wanted, but can you kind of take us through the reaction and kind of your thoughts as we taped this on Thursday, watched it well since then, but what's kind of been your reaction to how things went Saturday?
Obviously players disappointed, coaches disappointed. We have higher standards and higher expectations, every week going into football games about how we're going to move the offense, how we need to execute, and putting points up on the board. And obviously, defense gave us a lot of great opportunities early on the plus side of the field, great field position, and just missed some opportunities to where. Got down there to where we got in field goal range, and we don't ever want to leave it up to, special teams if we don't have to, but ended up not getting points there, then came back and floundered an opportunity, missed opportunity in the passing game with a wide open guy, and then took a sack, and then got us into 3rd and 23, got us out of, that field position there and had to, so just squandered some opportunities, and, at the end of the day, with a good team, the margin of error is very small. You got to be able to execute, and you got to be able to have some explosive plays against a team like that, and just weren't able to do it.
Looking at, we all know what that stage is for an OU player. We all know what that stage is when it comes to the big picture of college football, but how did you feel Michael Hawkins Jr. handled everything that comes with playing in OU Texas?
I don't think it was the stage at all. I thought our players handled that well. I thought, obviously, when you get into games like that, through the week of preparation, things are going to speed up for you a little bit. You're going to play with a little bit more adrenaline. But overall, there's no doubt in my mind at the moment, but it wasn't too big for any of the guys. I think just settling in and going out and making sure that everybody just does their job each and every play. Making those routine plays over and over, that's the most important thing. If it's good enough in the week in practice, it's good enough in the game. And, but it comes down to every position. We just got to do a much better job overall of playing well together as a team and executing at a much higher level, through the course of the game.
Miguel Chavis was just in with us. We were talking about PJ Adebawore, and he brought up, hey, injuries are real. This has been an offensive line that's been dinged up. Seems like it's finally healthy, but that receiver core has been absolutely decimated by injuries, hoping to get Deion Burks back this weekend. How have you seen those young guys progress, Coach?
They're working extremely hard, and they are progressing well. I mean, you look at, those guys, a lot of those guys are not expected to maybe have as big of a role as they're having right now throughout the season. But, they're working hard through the weeks of preparation. We're just trying to put them in the right situations to have that success. And I think, obviously with a young group, you kind of want young guys to go out there with veteran players, with guys that have a lot of experiences, who have made a lot of plays that can settle you into a game. But when you throw a bunch of young guys out there at the same time, that's where it gets challenging. And they have to trust and believe in one another, making sure that through the week of preparation, making sure we get on the same page and then build that trust up throughout the week to where, especially in the passing game, where where a certain guy is going to be and when they're going to be there. And so, again, just continuing to work on that through this week of preparation, and hopefully we'll have a much better outcome this week.
One of the bright spots in the Texas game was Zion Kearney.
Yeah.
Young guy, he looks the part physically, seems like the mental part is starting to slow down for him. Is that performance against Texas, where he did have some production, is that something that could be kind of a launching pad for him moving forward the rest of the season?
I think so, just gaining that confidence, making plays on a big stage. I mean, a lot of that is it comes down to, as you know, as a foreign player, once you get out there and make those plays and you build that confidence up, it's always a little easier to get back out there. And so I'm proud of Zion. He's been working extremely hard, not only just learning the offense, learning what to do, play in and play out, and we have some other guys, Raggins, Zion, he's been out there and playing some ball. He's had to play multiple positions, whether it's inside, outside, moving him around as well. And so, the more those guys go out and gain that confidence, the better they're going to be. They're all very talented. It's just a matter of getting the game experience.
What have you seen in this week of preparation? Are you liking the way you're seeing your offense approach this week against South Carolina?
The preparation's been good. I think this past week, going into the Texas week, I thought we had a really good week of preparation. It was a week that, the numbers were even higher, just the amount of output they put in and the intensity that they went through. They are working extremely hard, and this week's they've stepped it up another week. And so, it's been positive. They've been working hard, great attitudes, all in together. Everybody understands that each position group has their role, and they have to make sure that, again, just like each and every week, just going out and the preparation is the key to the confidence going into the game, and that's what we've had a good week of preparation to this point. Now we just got to carry that over in the game with that confidence.
It doesn't take long when you're watching South Carolina's defense on tape to go, oh, they've got some talent. What stands out to you about that defense as you've prepared for this game on Saturday?
Well, obviously they're very well coached, but I think what stands out the most is how hard they play. They're long, they're athletic. It's probably the longest team we've faced up until this point in the year. But
they're huge in the secondary.
Huge. They are. I don't think there's a guy under 6'1" on their entire defense. But obviously you got 6'5", 6'6" defensive ends and long, athletic. They play extremely hard together. Schematically, they have some really good change-ups, but their players know their system. They know what the strengths and weaknesses are. It's not like they're over-exotic or going to do anything outlandish that you haven't seen. It's just how hard they play and how well they play together, and they're just very well coached.
Yeah, and as we brought up with Coach Chavis, it seems like they play really well on the road, too. All right, we'll be back in the Palace Saturday morning, 11:45 a.m. with the kick. We got one more segment with Seth Littrell as we preview Oklahoma and South Carolina inside the Coach's Corner, presented by Riverwind. Final segment with Seth Littrell inside the Coach's Corner, presented by Riverwind with Gabe on Plank. All right, so Coach, the quarterback room, you made a change this year. Michael Hawkins, growing pains a little bit last week, but how have you seen that room come together and work to try to make this offense as good as it can?
Yeah, they all work hard together, and again, a guy like Mike Hawkins has been obviously putting in a lot of work, and a young guy that, has some guys around him that are really putting in the work with him. Our room is awesome. Not only with our players, our staff. We will work really well together. There's no egos. And so Jackson Arnold, he's been a guy that's stayed focused, stayed locked in, always preparing for his next opportunity when that presents itself. And they all work hard together, even on the sideline throughout the game. Jackson's telling Mike, things he may see out there on the field. Casey Thompson's been an unbelievable asset in our room, just the experiences he has. And, he's pretty much faced a lot of these different defenses and coverages, and pretty much played all of our plays, throughout some time in his career. And so, they're all working well together. At the end of the day, we just want to win. And they've all done a great job of putting their egos aside and making sure that we're trying to get the best preparation we can.
No matter who you put out there at quarterback, his best friend will be an effective run game. What have you seen from the offensive line, from these backs? Do you think the run game as a whole is headed in the proper direction? Is it headed where you want it to go?
Well, it's not where we want it to be right now.
Right.
I know that. And I think that they've been working extremely hard. There's been flashes and signs of things that have been really good for us. And then it's been like a lot of our offense, inconsistent. And that's where overall we have to be more consistent overall. There's a fine line of how you have to execute against some of these defenses that we've played. We've played very high caliber defenses, and so the margin of error is very small. And so execution is key on each and every snap, because it only takes one snap within that drive to put you behind the chains and put you in bad situations to where you're not able to overcome, and you're having to punt the ball. And so we have to be more consistent overall. And that starts with me. I got to find different ways to put them in better situations to have that success. And when I do, it's their job to go out there and make those plays.
It's got to be a challenge too, Coach, because you go from a mindset with Jackson to then, a very short sample size with Michael Hawkins. For you as a play caller, do you have to adjust with Michael Hawkins versus Jackson Arnold, how you called things, and what has that process been like?
No, I don't. Both of them have their strengths and weaknesses, right? And I think a lot of people coming in, in the offseason, really excited about Jackson, but also not forgetting that Jackson didn't have a ton of experience either, and so both those guys are young guys, still obviously very smart guys, understand the game, but still learning and growing within the system, and and also what they're facing each and every week. And so, for a quarterback, it's, you would love to get thrown out there with a lot of veteran players, with a lot of a veteran receiver group, where those guys are understand exactly what to do on each and every snap, where they're going to be. But unfortunately, this season with the injuries that we've had, that hadn't been the case. And so we have to adjust, we have to evolve, and we have to make sure that the preparation is even better throughout the week, and making sure that you're going to have to put in that extra time with that group to making sure that we can execute on a high level. And so, again, they're working extremely hard. It's a great, unbelievable group. I love our team. I love our, from top to bottom, man. They work extremely hard. They work well together. There's no egos. Now we just got to put, we got to put it out on the field on Saturdays.
Looking at the running back room, I think Javante Barnes has been very consistent for you guys, and then you see some flashes from Taylor Tatum.
Yeah.
How can those two guys, and you throw Sawchuk in there as well, of course, but how have you seen that room progress?
Coach Murray does an unbelievable job of that group. They work extremely hard. Javante works as hard as any, man. He comes to work every day. He loves ball. He's extremely competitive, and I think he's back, obviously, more healthy this year. He's had a lot of the injury bugs in the past, and, he's really done a great job of taking care of his body in the off season and building to where he is now. And, he still has a lot of room for improvements, but as we all do, but he works at it. He works extremely hard. Obviously, Tatum is a very athletic, explosive guy that is going to be a very special player. The more, he grows, and just like any young guy, just building that confidence. Last week, unfortunately, we had two young guys and two freshmen, right before the half. We have two great plays there and had 2 turnovers, and there's no one. Those 2 guys, it means a lot to them, and it hurts them a lot. That those turnovers. It's a great learning experience for them, and I think just bouncing back. I think they're going to get better each and every week, and so really excited about Taylor and what he can do with the ball in his hands, and then obviously Gavin. He's the leader of that group. You come in here on Wednesday nights, late at night. He's got that whole running back room in there together, and they're watching tape, and he's coaching them up, which is awesome to see. And so it's a good group. Again, we got to, continue to evolve and grow in the run game, and those guys have to make plays for us in order to be successful.
Always appreciate your time, Coach. Best of luck Saturday.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sooner offensive coordinator Seth Luttrell, Gabe, and I will wrap the Coach's Corner next.
OU's 2024 football games are available on Exodus 96.5 FM in Oklahoma City and 101.5 FM El Patron in Tulsa, as well as on those stations' websites. Each OU Spanish broadcast will feature a 30-minute pregame show and a 15-minute postgame show. The Sooner Sports Podcast is your all-access audio pass to Sooner Sports. Listen as Toby Rowland and Chris Plank talk all things Sooners. New episodes drop every day. Log on to Soonersports.com/podcast or search Sooner Sports Podcast in your favorite podcast provider. Presented by Allstate and Riverwind Casino. Thank you to our cornerstone television partners, OU Health, OG&E, Fowler Auto Group, and Coca-Cola.
Our final segment is brought to you by Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. You've talked a lot about South Carolina, Gabe. Let's give you our scouting report brought to you by Bob Moore Ford. Proud to honor service members through the Patriot of the Game. You really like the athleticism of the South Carolina team, don't you, defensively?
They, across the
Across
board,
the board.
both sides of the football, also very athletic on their special teams units. It is, you're going to see them physically, and you're going to go, that's an SEC roster. They are long, athletic. You look at their sizes across the board, especially defensively. They look the part, and just starting with their defense, they have the best duo at defensive end that we've seen. And there's no doubt in my mind about that. Kyle Kennard, number 5, is going to be, most likely, I think he is going to be a first-round pick. And then Dylan Stewart, number 6, his ceiling is first pick of the NFL draft.
Oh, wow. That's high.
He is, you are a draft nerd.
I'm a draft nerd, people.
You're going to see his name 2 years from now when he's draft eligible, because he's only a true freshman right now. When he's draft eligible, going into that season of college football, you're going to see his name in the top 5, top 10 of every mock draft out there.
Hey, South Carolina had an edge guy that went number 1 overall in the draft, and Jadeveon Clowney, I say a few years ago now, like a decade ago.
Clowney and I, similar ages, remember him very well. Dylan Stewart is more talented than Jadeveon Clowney.
That is high praise. That is high praise.
He reminds me, I was in Cleveland when the Browns drafted Myles Garrett. His ability to bend his body and just his explosiveness out of his stance, it reminds me a lot of Myles Garrett.
Well,
I'm not trying to scare everyone. I'm just telling you what I see.
Well, we know it's going to be awesome with the whiteout. So remember, 11:45 kick. Make sure you wear white. Last time that we did this, Oklahoma did it, I want to say 2019, with the opener, Jalen Hurts against Houston. It's an awesome visual. Wear white. It should be loud, and it should be rock. And Gabe, we need to find out how Oklahoma can win. So it's time for Eichert's Intel, brought to you by Orthodontics exclusively. Proud to sponsor the junior captain of the game. Junior captain is the ultimate fan experience for children grades 3 through 7. What you got?
Offensively, I know things have not gone great in these last couple of football games, but I do think this offense can have success against this South Carolina defense. One of the key things, I always talk about the importance of getting the running game going. And I think that they can run it effectively against this South Carolina defense. They just have to execute. This offense can't continue to have a guy on this play mess up, and then the next play it's another guy. They have to execute at a high level consistently, and they got to throw the ball down the field. South Carolina is very aggressive in the secondary. You have to make them feel threatened by the vertical passing game. I'll be very, very surprised if Michael Hawkins Jr. doesn't take some shots down the field, especially early in this game. And then defensively, you heard Miguel Chavis, stop the run. South Carolina's got a lot of different stuff in the run game, a lot of moving parts that makes you communicate it as a defense. But if you can control the line of scrimmage and stop the run and put Lenoris Sellers in obvious passing situations, that's a good recipe for success for OU's defense.
That's brought to you by Orthodontics exclusively. That's Eichert's Intel. Gabe and I will rejoin you on Saturday morning for our 3-hour pregame show leading up to kickoff. We'll be on the air at 8:30 a.m. on the Sooner Sports Network. Until then, let's get rowdy, shall we? For Gabe, for our producer Jay, I'm Plank. Have a great game day in Boomer Sooner, everybody.
This has been the Riverwind Casino Coach's Corner, presented by Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Sooner Sports Network.